It's Thursday, March 15th, 2018, and you're listening to the Beer Temple Insiders Roundtable.
Remember, this is what we said. To never be heard, seen from again. Remember, this is what we wanted. Remember, this is what we said. To never be heard, seen from again.
You already saw. Okay. Hello, and welcome to the Beer Temple Insiders Roundtable. I'm your host, Chris Quinn. Sorry for starting out a little hot there, Serge. Serge is adjusting the levels. I'm your host, Chris Quinn, coming to you, as always, from Studio B here at the Co-Prosperity Sphere in beautiful Bridgeport, Chicago. Thanks, as always, to Lumpen Radio and its fearless leader, Logan Bay, for having us on. Great to have producer Serge on the ones and twos, so to speak. Screwing up a little bit. Didn't get the levels quite right. Doesn't have the headphones levels correct now, but we'll get that going. You know, usually takes Serge a little bit of time.
It's cool you're not pointing all that out. That's cool of you.
I like to do a running commentary of how the sausage is made. It completely inaccurate overview of what it actually is like, just pointing out the minutia and just not even bringing up all the many things that go right that I would be completely lost at sea without the help of all the producers. But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about how Serge screwed up the levels at the start of the show, and the show has been ruined. The episode's been ruined. Well, now it's too loud, so now I can't hear now all I can hear is myself. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, I want to thank everyone who is listening. If it's a little too loud, just turn down the volume knob on your phone or on your the knob on your phone. I've been watching basketball, drinking some beer today, so I'm just gonna put that out there right from the get-go. Yeah. How'd your team do, Pat?
You know, surprisingly well.
Mine too.
Yeah, it was pretty. But you guys were supposed to do well.
Yes,
I'm sitting over here in Upset City, baby.
It was awesome.
It was so great.
This upset of the day.
It was. Yeah,
it was great.
Game of the tournament so far, I would say.
Yeah, I would agree.
I just found out that there's a basketball.
Is as a
going
sport.
On.
You found out there's a sport called basketball.
I'm proud. You know that it was basketball we were even talking about.
Yeah, and Loyola
yes.
is based here in Chicago.
They are. North side, so you wouldn't know. You wouldn't have heard of them.
No, I didn't know about that.
There's several. There's at least three of them, right? There's one in California, one here, and one in
New Orleans.
Well, then there's four, because there's one, I think, in Maryland as well.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, there's four. Yeah.
Loyola, Baltimore, whatever it is, yeah.
Can I ask what the odds are of Loyola winning the entire tournament?
Well, they have to meet up with Villanova, so I'd say that.
Pretty,
but not
pretty
to the
good.
championship.
Pretty great.
Not to the championship.
We're
game.
coming for you, Villanova.
That's right.
All right.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right. You're shaking over there. I see it.
Yeah, I'm very upset. I'm very, very nervous. Don't know how I'm going to continue on. Let me find my
killer sports podcast you're running, by the way.
Let me just, for all of you out there listening, after you've turned down the volume a little bit so your eardrums aren't getting blown out by Serge's reckless mishandling of the levels at the opening of the show, I want to thank you for listening on 105.5 FM. If you want to come in and leave some feedback about Serge, you can do that at tlk.io/WLPN. It's a very loud swallow there. I heard that all the way from over here, Jerry. But you can, join the chat room. I want to thank all you guys for listening live. We do this 8 o'clock on Thursdays, so feel free to listen on the Lumpen Radio app or TuneIn Radio, anything like that. Probably want to shut those doors. Serge, right? Should have been on that also already, but that's fine. For those of you who download the show, I want to thank you as well. And yeah, thank you for downloading and listening to the show. I want all of those who may be listening for the first time to let you know what this show is about. It's it's mainly a critique show of college basketball and radio production.
Finally.
Yes. No, the goal of the show is, this is something I say every time. The goal of the show, and I need to have it written down because 130 times isn't enough for me to memorize it. The goal of the show is to open up a window into how the people making, selling, marketing, and facilitating the beer getting into your glass feel about the topics that are a part of their everyday lives. Many of my greatest beer experiences have been talking about beer while sharing beer with people whose opinions I respect and admire. And it's these experiences that I hope to capture with this show, the Insiders Roundtable. And I want to quickly mention, before I introduce my guests, that my guests' opinions and my own opinion are my own and their own, and they do not reflect the opinions of Lumpen Radio or of the Beer Temple or of anywhere, really, other than our own personal opinions. So let me get into it. We always introduce people in order of seniority. I think it's a pretty clear-cut seniority this time. First, Mr. Ed Marzewski, recent taproom owner. Mr. Ed Marzewski.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you for having me here today.
You're welcome. What's new?
Well, yeah, the tap room. We finally opened up our tap room. It's been fantastic. We're very, very happy.
Woo!
It's been a long, long journey. So that's the new stuff in my world.
Yeah, how's it been going? What's up with it?
Well,
I've been hearing good things. A lot of chatter.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, people coming in and
That's good.
To my place and talking about it.
Oh, I'm glad. I hope it's good things. Well, you know, I obviously wasn't prepared mentally to understand what it means to open up a tap room of a brewery that's been waiting to have a tap room for 4
But other than
years.
mentally, everything
Everything
else
else
was prepared.
Everything else
T's
is great.
crossed.
Yeah.
Eyes dotted.
Everything
Good.
except for the thing I was working on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good.
Yeah, it's all good.
Awesome. Well, thanks for taking. Honestly, thank you for taking some time to come on the show. Are you doing homework, Serge? That's awesome. That's great. Look at it.
Well,
Can
you know,
show everybody
hence
else your
why
screen?
the,
He's
I'm
got a
also-
bunch of
off.
like math notations on his screen.
I'm also making menus while we're on the show, so
You know.
yeah.
He's never going to get out of
I'm
this
crocheting over here.
Great.
Yeah.
until he
Well, crocheting is good for
gets
your
his
brain.
degree.
Okay. Well, great. So you're going to be on your A game, Ed. That's good to know.
Yep.
At least you can just fall back on
Usual.
just going back and
Bored.
just having that.
I hate GBH.
Yeah.
The usual stuff.
The usual stuff.
Yeah.
You having read the outline and
yeah,
gone over
coconuts.
everything.
Where's King Kona? I got
Yeah.
it.
Perfect.
I'm in.
Yeah. We'll just have a little button that we push for a response
Yeah.
from you,
Yeah, just,
certainly.
where's that sound effect machine
Yeah.
that has all my stock responses?
Yeah. You are that machine. I think you at
Oh.
this point
Yeah,
that's what you are.
I ate it, so just hit me in, hit me in my butt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My next guest is Mr. Pat Berger of Kaiser Tiger and Patty Long's.
How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing well. Also, an alum of Loyola Chicago.
Correct. Yes.
Right.
A rambler.
You're a rambler.
What?
A rambling man.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
A ramble. Yeah.
Just
Hence
rambling
the
on.
sweater that he's wearing right now.
Yeah, man. Loyola
Ramble
Rugby.
Still fits.
I
I don't think he's been wearing that sweater
doesn't
too much
fit, does it?
longer.
I know, it looks
It
fine.
doesn't fit.
It's fine.
But I was able to pull it over my head.
What's with everyone on the TV screens that I saw today? We're wearing those like Harry Potter scarves around their necks. What's up with that?
Yeah, our colors are unfortunately reminiscent of Gryffindor.
But what's up with the? Why are they all wearing those striped? Is it to look like Harry Potter? I'm not kidding. Why do they all wear those scarves? They're wearing striped scarves. Is it to look like Harry Potter?
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah.
Grown
I mean,
men doing that? I just want to know, grown men, grown alum of your university, want to appear as if they are a child wizard.
Well, wasn't this a Quidditch match today? Did I miss
Just a question.
something?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a stripes. That's weird. That's
That you guys had it
we
first.
predate it.
You
Exactly.
were-
We
you were
predate
it
Harry
first.
Potter and whatever. I have a lot of maroon and gold striped clothing that only bring out once every 33 years.
When the Harry Potter movie premieres.
When Loyola makes the big dance, like they did today. Sorry, Mr. Villanova, and we make the game. We do it every year. Big deal. You don't even feel
Boring
a
story.
quarter of the joy on
All
Philly
right.
today.
My next guest agreed. Fine. Sorry to hate on your big day.
Yeah.
I'm happy for you. I did find it was weird that they were in those scarves. But anyway, my next guest is Mr. Jerry Nelson, the loudmouth of Chicago beer, as he's known.
The loudest
man in beer.
Yeah.
What's new with you?
Not much besides a car crashing through our brewery.
Yeah,
recently.
that's been the talk.
Talking about.
Yeah. So a car crashed. It looks like. Well, what can you tell the story briefly?
Well, it was actually an SUV, and my guys were just finishing up a bottling day, and then I was out of the brewery, and one of the guys was standing near the front, but not, thankfully not in the line of the traffic, and car breaks through all the windows and into the side wall in between me and my neighbor. So it's.
I see a photograph of it right now. They basically broke into the entire 10-foot wide by 10-foot high.
So I have a question for you.
Window.
Ed. It's a big dispute. What color was the car that came through?
It's like a kind of beigey silver.
Well, let's see it.
Wait, it was in color?
Yeah, beigey silver.
on the Tribune or the Sun Times, whatever.
I was going to say it was a trick question because all the pictures are in black and white because you kept on brand. He kept on brand and did it all.
Yeah.
All his documentation of it was in black and white.
I slip up every once in a while.
Do you forget to put the filter on?
Apparently, he fell asleep at the wheel, according to news reports,
Shocking.
in the parking lot.
Yeah, he turned off of Gulf Road, and the entrance into the parking lot, which is about the entrance of the parking lot to our front door is about a football field long. And after he turned off of Gulf Road, he fell asleep and just kept going.
Made it.
And
it's time for a quick nap.
We're directly in line with the entrance of the parking lot.
Now, I just learned that you're right next to a dollar store. So when you run out of plates and napkins and forks and knives, you just run next door?
Oh, exactly, yeah.
That's awesome.
Do
they sell hops, too?
That's smart.
No.
That's pretty
sweet. Thanks everyone for making it on the show tonight. Much appreciated. And let's just move right along to beers that you guys have been digging on lately or are excited to try or any sort of thing. Beers that you're excited about. Do you want to go first?
The past week or so, a lot of breweries have been dropping beer off as hey, welcome. Thanks for being here. Just really great gifts. Some cat from Mystic Brewery came in, brought some juice, some haze bombs. Half-acre cats are coming in with some 4-packs. So I've been drinking all the beer that's been dropped off at the brewery because I can't drink any of our beer because we're running out of beer.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a tough life over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Still
I was distracted.
small little
Serge
brewery.
apparently messed something else up.
Tiny little place.
So what?
So this Mystic,
Mystic haze bombs.
It's some good stuff, yeah. And
Where's Mystic at?
Ed.
And
anyway,
and,
I interrupted you. You're about to say something else.
They're from Massachusetts.
Oh, cool. Shout out to them.
Yeah. But I also found a bunch of Easy Something cans in the Studio B or K refrigerator. So when I'm running out of these beers, I bring a couple into the gaming zone. I find myself.
I was wondering when that button on your automated thing.
Yeah,
is,
the game. Oh, you got
this segment is video games.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, and you could just drink that.
The Easy Something.
You could just drink Easy Something. Really easy.
What is Easy?
Easy Something.
What is Easy Something?
It's a Lagunitas.
The new Lagunitas beer.
Like all day style.
It's a session,
yeah.
Session
version of
little
something.
Yeah.
Oh, it's called Easy. It really is called Easy something.
Yeah, and the label
Yeah, I think
even
so.
looks like it's someone else's beer. Like it's got like the camper motif, like a cross between Uinta and Founders.
Got it.
Colorful, not like any of their other branding. So I feel
Interesting.
comfortable and easy. It helps me just get through some
Game.
nervous moments in the trenches. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Good to hear. Who's next? Pat, anything you've been enjoying lately?
I've been drinking a lot of the Motorow Hellas.
Okay.
A nice lager over
I
there.
assume that's a collab that you did with
You
them.
like lagers?
not.
I don't think
you?
you've ever been on
Do
and
you
I've
like-
talked about a collab.
Do you like lagers?
I like lagers. Yeah, everyone does. They just don't like to admit it.
Yeah.
But
Motorow Hellas?
yeah, Motorow Hellas. Yeah.
Nice. It's been on at your spot. That's where you've been. What? No, I'm asking.
Well,
for
yeah.
real.
If I like drink, I don't.
No,
get
no,
out.
no, no. I'm
Yes,
that,
it's on
no.
at my spot.
There was no
I don't think
ulterior motive
Is that
there.
a call to
Not
action?
setting
I don't
you
know if
up.
I'm allowed
Yeah.
to talk about my spots anymore. But yeah, it's on tap at both places. We did the Guinness Foreign Extra Stout release last week. That was delicious.
What, on draft?
On draft, first time on draft.
Killer.
Really
we were
good.
just talking about that on Monday. I do
Yeah.
this beer class, and we were doing UK beers. And although Ireland is not considered the UK, I know I know that. But we
Not
we
by
lump-
them, it isn't.
We lump Ireland in there with
Yeah.
in that class, and we had Guinness
You are
Foreign
gonna
Extra.
you're going to get beat up on your way out of here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Remember where you are.
I thought Guinness should have. I don't know if this is a new beer for them. Have they done this before?
it's their
This
oldest
is
beer.
their oldest current, continuous recipe they've been brewing since
Like 100
1801.
years. Yeah. Okay, 200 years.
Well, I guess as a side note, when they started doing like their new stuff recently, I don't know what was it like about a year ago. They started coming out with
Yeah,
like
they're-
light
yeah.
beers and stuff.
Blonde IPA or whatever it is.
I thought
right?
they should have doubled down and gone even darker and more imperial stout, kind of
Yeah.
gone after that.
Well, this Foreign Extra is delicious. It's super hoppy. It's very aggressive.
It's the original black IPA. It's the same story as IPA. They were shipping it to Africa and across the world, and they made it bigger and stronger and hoppier. And it's actually the most. They make more Guinness FES than any other beer they make.
Wow.
It accounts for 40% of their sales.
Well, it's massive in Africa.
It's massive in Africa. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, their biggest market is Africa.
I didn't know. I've never seen it on draft ever.
It's never been on draft ever.
Okay.
So this is a brand new thing. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
Well, we're gonna steal that idea from you, and
Didn't I
get some. Yeah,
Didn't I see a Guinness coconut stout while I was in hanging out?
Ireland?
When I was hanging out with King Kona and the
King Kona might have made one.
and the Redneck Riviera. Wasn't there? Isn't there a coconut stout?
I
A
think they're
Guinness
working
Coke-
on
Like Guinness?
a chocolate cake batter stout. though.
They've got a new brewery in the U.S. and they're coming out with all kinds of weird
Seriously,
stuff.
I'm not making a
Right.
joke here.
I'm not either. It's where is it? I don't know.
Jerry has an idea for
Yes.
a whey protein shake stout.
Inspired by the beer temple.
Yeah, and the Omnipollo beer called Massive Gains 5000.
Nice,
Yeah.
very nice.
It's gonna taste
Jerry.
like one of those shakes.
Now I can't use that
You-
name.
you
It
can.
can be taken so quickly now.
You know what?
No,
that is
no.
a beautiful. I just pour that protein powder inside.
You're gonna pour it in a 2-gallon size plastic tub.
Yeah.
That's how it's gonna come, just like weight gainer.
No idea what you guys are talking
How about
You've
just
never seen those big tubs
No.
of
And you have to power it down just like you are drinking weight gainer because it's it's gonna be kind of hard to.
there's this powder in a weird tub.
You've never seen those powders of those tubs of weight gainer they sell at GNC and stuff.
What's a GNC?
Okay,
A general
never mind.
nutrition.
Now he's just
center.
being a jerk.
Come on. Do I look like I
Go to the
need weight
GNC.
gainer?
I mean, I don't shop at
People-
GNC either. I also don't shop at many places
Are you
that I
gonna
know
be competing
exist.
for the Olympics soon in weightlifting or wrestling,
No, curling.
curling? We don't need weight gainer for curling.
Yeah.
I don't need
No,
weight
that's
gainer at
not
all, I
true.
don't think.
There was a
Oh.
Russian.
Oh, that's
one of the
right.
Russians was kicked off the Olympic team for doping on the Russian curling team.
That is true.
But
Yes.
was he using weight gain or was he just merely
No, it
injecting
was like-
himself with steroids?
It was something that was giving him more stamina or something.
That's pathetic.
All right,
He's
now-
Adderall.
sweeping stamina. That's what it is.
Well, for me, the beer that I've been. Oh wait, Jerry. What about you?
Yeah, come on, Jerry.
Come on, Jerry. Don't make me go last, or make me go last, I should say. I'll go.
I'll
give
just
you
go
some
with the one I remember.
Okay.
Because it was the last one I had this afternoon. The Four Hands Madagascar. Pretty nice.
Yeah,
Oh,
there you
yeah,
go.
good beer.
Very tasty.
Yeah, it's a good beer.
They make yummy stuff down there.
Yeah. Beer that I've had lately that I've really enjoyed was Tipo Pills, which is Be United is doing some really cool stuff. They're an importer. They import a whole bunch of stuff, but one of the breweries they import is, Birrificio Italiano. I might have gotten that slightly wrong, but they
think you
do
got it wrong, yeah.
Tipo Pills. Yeah, I think. What is it? What is it then?
It's Tipo Pills.
Oh no, the name of the brewery. Yeah, the Tipo Pills.
Sounded racist.
Yeah, sounded like Mario. Is that your only?
That was
is that
my
your
Italian
only,
accent.
But it's
I watch-
gaming.
hey,
Everything is through gaming for
No,
you.
I watch a lot of food
They're not all
TV.
plumbers. They don't all talk that way.
He used his hands.
What's a Tipo Pills?
He was using his hands too.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
Tipo Pills.
It's a me,
a pizza pie, a spicy
It's at the
meatball.
tip of my tongue.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the beer.
So that beer,
the marketing
that's the
campaign.
beer that inspired Pivo Pills.
Of
from,
course.
from Firestone Walker, and so they're bringing it over. Be United is so it's a hoppy, dry hopped pills, which is obviously going to be very delicate and might not make the trip over from Italy very well. So what Be United is doing for this beer and a whole bunch of beers is they're putting them in these big tankers, which they've been doing for a while for even some of their Belgian beers, and then they are sending it over in like a conditioning tank, dry hopping it stateside and canning it stateside and then sending it out and or kegging
pretty
it
cool.
too. Yeah. So it comes and it tastes great. It's stupidly expensive,
Huh.
but it's kind of cool. to
Interesting.
do. Yeah.
You know,
Do you have that at Beer Temple right now?
Yeah.
All right, I gotta come over and check it out.
A lot
Yeah.
of beers transported by stainless like that. They're trucks of stainless tanks that just pump beer into your whatever 1,000-liter container in your basement of your bar. It's very bizarre. It's pretty intense. In fact, Yopin used to just ship their beer in like giant gas, sized trucks, gas container trucks, to their plant to can and bottle.
Who did?
Yopin Brewery in Holland.
Oh.
And it just kind of freaked me out, but they told me it was very common for a lot of these small brewers to brew in a larger, dying macro brew facility of a particular region and then make their beer and ship it to their brewery where they have a canning machine or bottling machine.
The
sure it's
Man in Belgium does that.
Yeah.
Did
Well, they
that.
ship it through a beer pipeline.
They did, yeah, they were
From-
working on the pipeline when I was
Yeah.
there.
It's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the next wave here in the States is just
Tanker trucks.
tanker trucks of beer being transported between contract tenant brewing facilities and like little garages with canning machines in them.
Or just canning it right there and putting their sticker on it.
We're just piping it to
Yeah.
everybody's house, too.
Yep.
Yeah, piping it
Well,
directly
that's
into
St.
the gullet.
Louis. Bush Lights and on tap in
Every house.
Every house in St. Louis.
I grew up there. That's true.
Yeah.
I grew up there. I can
Hot
verify
water is still hot
that
water.
is true.
Hot water's still hot water.
Hot water's
though.
hot water. Yeah. But the cold water's
Bud Light.
Bud Light. Bush Light.
straight to the mountains.
Yeah.
I wish.
Yeah. I think it's about time we take about. Oh, I do want to give a
We just got
shout
here.
out. I want to give a
Just got
shout
here.
out
We just got here.
to the substitute host last week, Mr. Mike Shalau, who's now in Japan
Yeah.
for the Snow Monkey Beer Fest. So you
Yeah.
know those monkeys that like sit in hot tubs in Japan? He's going to like chill in a hot tub with a
kinda
bunch of monkeys
incredible.
and drink beer.
Kind of
Yeah.
the most beautiful trip
That's-
a brewer could make.
I know.
Do the monkeys drink the beer?
I mean,
Of course they do.
yeah, they
Because
have little
monkeys
monkey
doing
size.
anything like human-like is awesome.
Sitting in a hot tub.
Drinking beer, yeah, with monkeys.
That's true.
That is a dream come true, my friend.
Yeah. Yeah. So look out for that on Instagram. You know, monkeys drinking beers and taking edibles probably and
Wow.
having a good time.
The snow monkeys, man.
Yeah.
Don't mess with them.
No.
Sounds awesome.
So I wanted to thank Mike, and it was a great show. And he kind of picked up and did that last second, and kind of put me to shame, and showed that it's really not that hard to host this show better than me. He's like, yeah, I guess I can host, and then came in and
Well, I was actually pretty disappointed because I thought whenever you didn't do your show, the Dust Brothers hours would come on, and I've been waiting for you to leave town so I could hear the Dust Brothers show again, and it wasn't on.
Well, that's what's scheduled to play, but I break in every week.
Okay.
So, yeah, that was good. Anyway, let's take about a minute or so break. Play some promos for other shows. Maybe the Dust Hour promo will come.
Yeah,
I've heard it. I think it came on last time.
Yep.
It's on a rotation. I don't think Serge has any control over which ones
Do
play.
they have their own show now?
Yeah, it's called the Zombie Dust Radio Hour. Predates this show.
Yeah, it's there on like the 200th episode.
Yeah. So
They won't even touch Beer Opinions. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
no,
And the Dust Brothers get their own hour syndicated show.
Yeah. 200 shows.
it's getting picked up by Viceland.
Of course.
Yeah.
Oh, you did. Why isn't your show on the air?
Yeah, you tell me. You didn't get back to
All
my
right,
last email.
this is at least a 60 to 90 second discussion. So why don't we come back and listen to more of the Beer Temple Insiders Roundtable? And we're back. Oh, okay. Just mark that down. I think you need to do some different type of homework, maybe. How to produce 101.
Hey.
What? You know what? I'm not the jerk.
I'm the certifier.
I'm not the jerk because I just announce when facts are out there. The fact is, Serge is doing he's at a D+ right now, and
sounds pretty
falling
jerky to me.
rapidly.
Are you using the kind of like graph where in the first
It's a bell
15
curve.
bell,
It's a bell
He's
curve
going to improve. It's going to improve
what I imagine someone
Yeah,
could do.
He's going to improve.
That's the curve that he's graded against.
He's going to go. He's going to do it.
A bell curve of expectation.
Can you hit the button that triggers one of my catchphrases?
Yeah. Borg.
Borg. Okay,
Borg.
thanks.
Borg.
See?
Borg.
See?
Well done.
Good job, Serge.
All right. The show is a steaming pile of trash so far, but that's fine.
Let's get right into a subject, Chris.
Let's get into it.
Let's go.
Okay. So, some of these topics might sound familiar to people who listened last week because they're the same topics. But I listened to them, and me being the egomaniac I am, needed to put in my opinion, so I just brought them back up. But I thought something was very interesting. So Sierra Nevada put out a press release that they're looking to refocus on Pale, right? I don't know if you guys heard about this. Ed definitely did, because you
I know.
read and reread the outline.
Also, what's interesting about that press release, Chris, it came one day after you visited them at the brewery.
I wrote it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was wondering about that.
No, it did. Yeah, it came when I was, I think, on my way out there, which is funny. I was out there. That's why I wasn't here last week. I don't want to
or
plug
Asheville?
Asheville.
Yeah, pretty sweet, isn't it?
It's
I think
out of control.
I think the brewery there is
Have you guys been?
it's amazing, and the beer when it's poured in their tap room is unreal.
I've never. The only thing that can compare to it on the outside would be the Escondido Stone. I would say is the only thing that compare to it, and even then, with this new, they've got like an acre of land. Well, they've got like 40 acres of land. It's crazy, but
Yeah.
and just that's not what I wanted to talk about. But I'm sure I'll go into it at another time, probably in this show. But they want to refocus on Pale, and a couple interesting things were brought up. One is that they've never had a Pale brand manager, which is insane. And two is that rotation and this, we talk about new, and just how that's the current craft beer climate is this high rotation, turn and burn, always something new. We've talked several times about how our flagship's dead in craft beer, and Sierra Nevada was basically saying they were victims of their own doing because they were kind of trying to put out new stuff. That's what the consumers want. They want new things. The same old stuff is boring to them. And what would happen is essentially, a 20-year Sierra Nevada Pale line the rep themselves would, maybe say, well, do you want to try to put on eau Treves? Who knows? Maybe because they're getting incentivized to put it on or move kegs, or who knows why. That's all just me speculating. They put eau Treves on, so that line becomes not pale for the first time in a long time. Then they start rotating maybe some other Sierra Nevada stuff on that line other than pale, and then something non-Sierra Nevada rotates into that rotation. And before you know it, that Sierra line, that Sierra Nevada pale line is gone. And now they're playing catch-up trying to get these lines they've had for a long, long time. And it's because they were trying to play this rotation game. And it's interesting. I was talking to a couple breweries or people who worked at breweries about it, and they kind of nodded their head and said, yeah, absolutely, 100%. So I wanted to think we've got brewery owners, bar owners, a little bit of each here. I wanted to see what you guys felt about that. Specifically, is this heavy rotation in the long run a good, bad, both thing for beer? I was just really shocked that some of the declines in Sierra Nevada, they were partially saying it was from the loss of handles, partially because of their own doing with this rotation. Anyone? No? Okay, next topic.
Well, no, I have a lot of opinions on this because I run 2 permanent Sierra lines, one at each bar. And
do you? I didn't know you've.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, and so they're one of my all-time favorite breweries. I got to go out there and make a beer with them in the beer school program. And
which one did you go to?
I went to Asheville. It was so cool.
So
so great.
Yeah.
But so yeah, my thing is always trying to figure out what beer from them will sell. Pale ale is not the one that sells, right? So,
although you said you did a beer of the month with it and it killed.
No, the opposite.
Oh.
I did the beer of the month with it and it was a total flop.
I thought you did a keg of it then or something at Kaiser and it killed. Whatever. Go on. I interrupted you.
Not really. It's actually on tap right now at Kaiser, and it has been for a week, which is a long time for one keg at Kaiser. It's hard because I think that's one of the greatest flagship beers in the world. I mean, not even in the U.S. And it holds up today just as well as it did when it blew my mind 25, 30 years ago, whatever it was. It is an incredible beer, right? So, they suffer from this same symptom that Sam Adams suffers from in New Belgium and, all the ubiquitous beers that you can buy at 7-Eleven. And people just aren't – they always want what's new and shiny. And, we've been over this topic a trillion times. I like that they're refocusing on it. And when I read that article, that's when I bought a keg of it because we were in between a couple of their beers. During the summer, we go straight for the Keller Weiss, and then that kills it.
Yeah.
But the rest of the year, we do kind of struggle finding the one that does well. And, so I don't know. That's my opinion. It's all true, whatever, what they're saying. People are not interested in Sierra Nevada Pale Ale.
Okay. Interesting. Do you think
beer geeks anyway? Do
you think that it could become a kind of like hipster loyalty Hams Schlitz type beer? Where
I don't know. I hope so.
Well, it is for you, beer hipsters.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
I mean,
we've talked.
You guys love it.
I remember one time we were going through the what beers are you drinking, and I said Sierra Pale Ale, and Vavrick was next. He was like, "You took my beer," So I think it is because it is so great. It's great beer.
I would say they should probably go after that angle, probably. As far as
but they'd have to reduce
tried and
their
true
cost.
Craft beer, the original craft pale ale.
Yeah,
and the quality on it is next
to
make none in craft beer.
It's the meter for all pale ales. That's it.
Yeah, but it really isn't. I mean, it is not. It's not a
for American pale
ale.
ales. It is American pale.
It's not an American pale ale that is in vogue right now. That style. There's way too much malt. There's probably too much bitterness. There's
Yeah, it's all true.
You know,
yeah.
I
I mean,
mean-
for the taste of
yeah,
the fad, right? But
Right.
is it a great beer?
without doubt.
Yeah.
But I would say, you know, in a market where Daisy Cutter is, you know, not hop forward enough for somebody, and you know, I'm assuming, you know, that's, you know, so you have stuff like tuna. Well, I don't want to speculate as to why tuna is out, but like, you know, when Daisy Cutter is not contemporary, and that thing is a hop bomb, very low malt character. I mean, Sierra Pale is like an amber to people. Like, oh, I don't like amber ales, you know, that sort of thing.
Well, I think the biggest nugget of information here about why it's not as why they're losing share is the fact that thousands of breweries have opened up.
Well, hold
And
on.
that's- and
Yeah.
that's-
And that
that's
is
the-
that's the big thing. Yeah,
That's the
For sure.
That's
I'll
the
go
main
right there.
reason why they were losing their handles.
But I don't want to, and I'm sorry, I might have set this up wrong. I don't want to just talk about why Sierra is losing market share. I want to talk more about, you know, today's market of high velocity tap handles, rotating, no steady handles. I mean, I'd say many beer bars, craft beer bars, have very, very few to zero steady handles. And I think Pat's bars are a glaring exception to that in a way, and always have been.
Yeah.
Right? You still have Delirium on?
Yes, yeah.
Do you still have Lindemans
No,
on Patty?
no,
Okay.
we did switch that.
Okay.
But yeah, I do try
I mean, just
to.
like for years.
Yes, I do try to have beers that people can rely on being on tap there, and people still want that. You know, I know it's not the most vogue thing at a beer bar, but you know, I think that's also why I don't. You know, I've never relied on just being a beer bar to do business. You know, I try to be a bar first and a beer bar second. You know, I do. You know, and people want, you know, and people my age, and I know I've come to this realization that I don't. It's very rare that I go out to a bar and flip around to 5 or 6 different beers. I used to, because I just wanted to taste everything, right? But now I'm older, and my body, you know, I don't know what's going to happen if I flip around all night. I'll get hammered, is what I'll do. So I pick one that I know what 3 or 4 of those beers are going to do to me, and I stick to it so that I can, you know, manage my buzz, like I expertly did today during Loyola's victory.
There you go. Just teeter right on the edge.
Right? Yeah, just teetering on the
Scarflow's
edge. You know, so I think that'll come back. I don't know. You know, I don't know. The hell do
Nobody
I know?
knows.
I know. None of us
Yeah.
know. But yeah, I like to, you know, and I like to also build up that relationship with the brewery, you know, because we are partners in a lot of ways with these breweries, and if you're just flipping around to every new brewery, you're never going to build that relationship with them and be able to rely on them the way they rely on you, you know?
When I used to curate or pick the beers at Maria's, we always wanted to have some Three Floyds beers, Half Acre beers. We wanted Zombo. Having Zombo on there was very important. And that consistency was important for me to make those kind of judgments in purchasing. I always wanted those beers on draft, and then we were able to play around with the other draft lines we had. But, you know, this is years ago. Today, I mean, there are just so many different choices. There's so many different beers in the marketplace. Like, would you say there's maybe twice as many, 3 times as many SKUs available in craft beer than there were like 4 years ago?
10 times. I don't.
You think
yeah.
it's 10 times now?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's pretty maddening.
It's
it's going up astronomically every year.
every
Yeah.
day.
So here's a question: Is
What's the fear of missing out for a lot of the people who are selecting beer? They want to try all these beers, right?
so
yeah, it's part of it.
it's
yeah.
funny, like if you have steady, if you're always rotating, it probably makes it hard for a smaller brewery or any brewery to just makes it very hard because they're always fighting just to tread water. Even, you know, you're
to
losing
sell
this
beer.
handle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is tough. It's super tough.
Where if you go into a bar and everything's a steady handle, it's probably hard for the small guy to break in. You know, you go around, it's like, no, we've got our tap handles. This is set. So it's kind of interesting. I mean, what ultimately is best for the consumer? I mean, you would say they want to come in and have choice. They want to be able to experience all the different beers. But do you think from a brewery standpoint, I mean, we've got two small brewery owners. I mean, is it like a love-hate thing, or do you want to get these steady handles, or what do you think, Jerry? Hold on.
Well, going from
Jerry.
I've been open 4.5 years, beer in the market, and I don't think I've ever had a tap handle like steady at any one place. So we've always had to play the, work to the market and try to get new beers out there that are interesting and do new stuff. At the first 2 years, we were doing stuff that was always trying to have steady supply of, that we could maybe get a tap handle and keep it, but it just never came around. And then
you don't have one permanent handle?
Not anywhere, no.
I mean, that's fascinating.
That's amazing.
That is.
It's amazing. And so does that then... And it's not like then you're rotating through a set list of... Well, does that mean you're rotating through a set list of 10 beers, or that you're always trying to put out something new so you can go to an account and say, bring in this new SKU, bring in something new?
I guess I have a caveat there. We are getting some places now that are, that they know we're coming up with a new double IPA every 2 weeks, and that's basically since the beginning of the year, we really focused on like having this set schedule, and so they're bringing in a keg in every 2 weeks, and essentially they're turning over the lines, and we probably are de facto taking over tap handle in a couple places.
Okay.
But we don't actively say, if you run out, or if we run out,
right.
Like if they run
out because it's going to go to somebody
they
else.
only get one
it's not
keg,
of
and if that takes a one weekend, if they'll put something on the next weekend, and I'll be back on, etc. So, but we're doing, we have a number of bars that are kind of like in that vein of,
But that must just be chaotic for you to like never know. Hey, I'm going to sell this many kegs this week to these people. I mean, I feel like I'm always, when I lay down that permanent handle for that brewery, I mean, we work it out. Hey, I'm going to do this many kegs a week, and I need to make sure this handle, stays, wet with that beer. For I don't want to get out of stock, and I don't want to, I'm going to put my efforts behind this beer. And I feel like the breweries really like that. Like that's a big, like it's like score. Good. All right. We're going to work on this together and we're going to do it. I mean, it must just be nerve wracking, I would think, to not have that.
Certainly.
Yeah. Like I'm going to make this beer and then just try to make sure enough people buy it that, right? I mean, you tell me.
It is. In some batches, I mean, to be honest, we burn some kegs. I mean, they go right into the dumpster. You can get them after 2 months and pull them out of our dumpster when we throw them away. But
I know where to go now.
Dumpster diving.
We
generally
just gonna cause a ruckus at the front of the store. Run my car through the window. Run to the dumpster.
If any scrappers are listening,
But generally, they're not. They're not metal kegs. But generally speaking, now we actually don't have enough, but the ones that are loyal customers, they get the keg first, and then after that, if there's anything else. But yeah, it is sometimes we make a batch of beer. I'm like, I hope it sells. We'll see. But we're our brewery in particular. We now the keg wise, keg to bottle ratio is something about 60%, 60 to 70% bottle, and then the rest goes kegs, and then we hope the kegs sell. The bottles generally sell really well. So
it's interesting. I wonder if the growth of a craft brewery is really dependent on whether they can get into non-craft bars then who aren't maybe rotating as quickly. Because if they're all whipping through this stuff, I mean, that like you were saying, Pat, it has to be so nerve-wracking. on multiple levels for the sales guy to just be
yeah.
on it, and also
And the
like
distributor to know how much to buy
the distributor
for that month or whatever,
and also the brewer to be like, okay, I got to get something
make this
new.
much beer.
I got to make a new beer, a different beer. I don't know. Haven't tried this. We haven't made this one before, this variant before. How's it going to do? I don't know. Yeah. And it's just new every time.
It's not
crazy.
though, Chris.
Yeah, you do it a lot more.
No, I mean it is. We never had a lot of draft to sell in the first place, so we never really had any steady handles. We never could fulfill giving anyone 2 kegs of anything or the next week. So
But I'm talking about growth, like the growth of a brewery.
But yeah,
sorry.
As we grow from our little 3-4 barrel system into the 15 barrel that we have now, we are making a lot more beer and we have more stuff to sell. And then when we first started making more beer, we were completely blown away at how much beer we could make. We started selling it, and it was tough, but we found outlets for some reason. But throughout this whole period, it's like we could never guarantee anyone they would ever get the same beer ever. Never. Just because you bought Jungle Boogie doesn't mean you get it the next time.
Yeah, but
it would never be guaranteed you could have it for months.
Right.
And it's really hard.
It's a unique situation. I mean, if you're Sierra Nevada,
no, but
you're spilling more beer a day than you make all year.
Oh,
it's just a whole different situation, and they can't gamble on making 20 different SKUs this week.
Oh yeah,
they got to push out a bunch of beer, right? So,
but I mean,
anyway, back to the pale ale thing, right? Like I hope they can build it back up because it's great beer.
So then, do we think that this rotating tap handle world that the craft bars are living in and craft beer drinkers seem to really, really like is maybe better for the small guy, but not as good for the big guys?
Sure.
Yeah, that's.
But now, does it inhibit the little guys from getting bigger because they don't have the dependability to have steady lines?
No, I mean,
or are we going to see a return to steady lines?
What do you mean by small guy? What size brewery are we talking about?
I don't know. I'd say maybe anything bigger than like maybe 5, 6, 7,000.
Oh,
we can't answer that for you.
I mean, that's still tiny.
Yeah. Well, I think I don't know if you.
It's huge compared to these two.
Well, I think you need to. I think what it comes down to is, and this is what we're seeing, is that people are just trusting that the next IPA that we make is going to be similar, as good as the previous one. We're pretty much doing one base beer, and we change up the hops on it. So it's the same IPA that we're doing on most of all of our IPA double IPA line. So it's not like it's a drastically different beer. So they're trusting that this new one that's coming out is going to blow through other lines, as just the same way the last one did. So
I think ultimately it's
all about trust.
You have to do it that way too. Like you have to have something of a base beer that you can mess around with. I mean, you have the Boogie variants, right, Ed? Mm-hmm. And Jerry, you have the double IPA. Hubbard's Cave I assume is the beer you're talking about.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So I guess even with you guys, there is some sort of consistency that you're going with. It's crazy how something. It seems to me that we might be in a situation where, this demand for all this different stuff has allowed a ton of little breweries to come into existence. But I wonder if it's going to hamper them from kind of from growing. I don't know. I mean, it could just be they have to transition to different types of accounts that are more traditional in their beer lineup. But are those accounts willing to try a small little guy? Who knows? I don't know.
If the beer is good, they will.
I don't know. I'm not so sure. There's a lot of good beer.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, a
lot of good beer. And also, if that were the case, then I don't know. It allows. I don't know. I'm just thinking if.
Well, I think what you're saying is it's a strategy that works at a certain size, and when you get bigger, it's a strategy that's impossible to employ, and you have to rely on a different strategy, like doubling down on your flagship beer, I guess.
Well, right, but what I'm thinking of is it hindering the little guys from getting too big? Is it going to prevent the little guys from growing to be the next Sierra Nevadas or stuff like that? I mean,
Well, they'll
Rev
just.
seems to be
I
doing
don't think it's
okay.
going to inhibit it. I think they're just going to face a different problem at that bigger
Yeah.
level. Like Pipeworks, is a good example of a brewery that made 8 different beers a week for the first few years of their existence,
Yeah, they
right?
pivoted, yeah,
And,
in a way.
and then they expanded, and they had to have a couple of regular beers that they could,
But they're still tiny.
They had to get some branding.
relatively speaking, right? They're at less than 10,000.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So, but they're in a few different states, and there are their brew house is a lot bigger than the old. I don't.
But
I'm
they
just
are
saying
they are
that,
an example of somebody
Right.
who has definitely transitioned from what me and Ed are doing to the next level. Steady beers that are always available, and then supplementing that with other stuff that comes
yeah.
in.
And I think their strategies changed
Right.
along with their growth, right? And you just have to be cognizant of that, right?
Interesting times that we are in. Yeah, it's all part of this thing that the owner of Green Flash called the squeeze, the big squeeze, or something he was talking about in craft beer. What's up?
Didn't they just auction off something?
Did they? I don't know.
Yeah.
What?
I didn't hear that.
I
Green
think,
Flash?
Yeah, I think Green Flash just auctioned off. Oh boy.
Should we take a break, a music break? It's
Yeah,
about that
maybe we
time.
could Google that. Let's do that.
Yeah. Why don't we do that? I want to listen to some music. I wanted to thank my guests yet again, Jerry Nelson, Pat Berger, and Ed Marzuski for coming on to 105.5 FM Lumpen Radio here in Chicago. And I'm your host, Chris Quinn. This is the Beer Temple Insiders Roundtable. Producer Serge is going to put some tunes on for you. Hopefully he doesn't screw this up, and if not, we'll be back in about 10 minutes with more of the Beer Temple Insiders Roundtable. Welcome back to the Beer Temple Insiders Roundtable. A near perfect return. Good transition, Serge. Could have been better, but pretty good. I'm your host, Chris Quinn, and I am joined by my panelists, Jerry Nelson, Pat Berger, and Ed Marzuski. And we were talking about a whole bunch of stuff. But the next topic we're going to talk about is, something that's come up, I think, the last couple shows, and it's something I think is going to keep coming up for a little bit anyway, is, this tap room. I don't even want to say versus, but I mean, that's how I had it written down as the topic. Tap room versus bar. Where is this going is what I said. And in the during the break, we talked about it, and, people were, myself included, jumping all over the topic, so I wanted to hold off and bring it up here. So essentially, there's been a lot of talk from bar owners about essentially tap rooms hurting their business, and I think Michael Roper has had some stuff about it. I read a statement when we had Danielle D'Alessandro. I hope I'm getting that name right, the executive director of the Illinois Craft Beer Guild, on a couple weeks ago. And there's been others, too, other notable publicans here in Chicago. And I think overall, I think this probably would be the case in many mature beer markets across the country. And specifically, I was talking about this new legislation that we talked about that's more specific to Chicago, that would allow tap rooms, breweries with tap rooms, I should say, to currently they can only pour their own beer, but now they'll be allowed to pour other people's beer, which they would have to buy through distribution channels, normally, as well as cider. And since cider is classified as a wine, which we found out from Danielle when she was on, you could do wine as well. So it's just supposed to be for cider, but since cider is classified as a wine, you could legally serve wine as well. So you could, I guess, do everything except for spirits, right? So I wanted to, since this is a beer show, we're talking probably about bars with a heavy craft beer focus. I wanted to throw it out there. So there's kind of two things here. There's the where this could go and where this is now, I think. So I just wanted to throw it out there. I think people, I know during the break that people have opinions about it. I have already expressed a bunch of mine, so I wanted to throw it out there. Who wants to go first? Raise your hand. Or just shout out. All right.
All right.
Pat,
I'll always go first.
Pat raised his hand.
I did.
He actually did.
I was told.
But he wasn't called on. No. No. So what's up, Pat?
Well, there's a lot to this, right? And I had Michael Roper on my show last week, and it was all about this, beer opinions. And it was all about the taproom, controversy, whatever you want to call it.
And
right?
Michael Roper is the owner of
the Hop Leaf, yep.
which is a 20-year plus
legendary beer bar here in Chicago.
Nationally, I would say it's a legendary.
Worldly known, I would say. World famous beer bar, Hop Leaf. So, yeah, here's the thing. Tap rooms, they evolved from an idea that all of these new breweries that we have couldn't sell their own beer at their brewery. They couldn't have, conduct a tour and then have people go into a room and buy some beers afterwards. They couldn't sell growlers. They couldn't sell cans to go. They couldn't do any of that stuff. And, of course, I think all of us, me certainly, think they should be able to do that. It's a silly idea that you go to the brewery and then can't purchase any beer.
And it leads to a negative experience for the end consumer, I think.
Absolutely. And there's almost...
sorry, here's all we do, and you can't try any of it. Or maybe you can have something in a little plastic shot glass.
Right.
Something weird like that.
Right. Or have, you can only get 4 ounces, or you can't pay for it, or, all these silly things, So they came up with this taproom rule, and the taproom law allows breweries to have a taproom. And there's a distinction, right, between a taproom and a brew pub. A brew pub is a bar restaurant that happens to make its own beer. And a taproom is a production brewery. That wants to be able to, sell some pints and fill some growlers. And obviously, when you write laws and this legislation and everything, then the lawyers get in and they, I'm going to say exploit those laws to the fullest. And
that's their job, man.
That is their job.
The law is the law,
right.
And they exploit it to their fullest. Right. Yep,
right.
That's what they do.
And so what is happening now is breweries are opening tap rooms that offer everything a bar offers. And, I'm still kind of okay with that.
Off Color, who I know, Pat, you and I
Yes.
have mutual respect for and mutual
Love
friends.
it. I've been to their tap room many times.
Yeah,
Love it.
they have a new one called the Mousetrap. It
Right.
is literally a bar.
Yes.
They can do everything.
They're a
some
brew
tap
pub.
rooms can't.
It's not, though, but that is a brew pub.
No, they have a tavern license.
Well, yes, but that's a brew pub license. So the tavern license comes with your brew pub license. So they are still, number one, they can't self-distribute. And number two, they have to make under a certain amount of barrels in total
Got it.
to have that license.
No, you're right. You're
so
right.
they're a brew
I'm
pub.
sorry.
So those
I stand
laws.
corrected.
Now, the taproom license isn't curtailed by any of those laws. You can make
Right.
1 billion barrels, and you also
Can self-distribute up to the allowable.
well, up to the allowable amount in Illinois, right?
Right, which is quite a bit, yeah.
So, what has snuck in under this law is the fact that a lot. I don't even know if it's been talked about on this podcast, but Anheuser-Busch operates 2 bars in Chicago, and that's a fact.
And those 2 bars are what?
Goose Island Clybourne and Goose Island Fulton Street.
Right.
Now,
They're tap rooms, right?
They-
Clybourne is a flat out. No, they're
they're
tap
both
rooms.
tap
They're
room
just
licenses.
tap rooms.
Anheuser-Busch can't hold a liquor license in Chicago.
Right.
They can hold a tap room license. And now with this new law under their tap room license, guess what? They can serve other beer and wine and cider.
So they could do.
Now
they
there's
could
some
do
other
virtue.
breweries coming into town to do the same thing, right? And
Ballast Point,
one's
right.
already open, Jolly Pumpkin,
Uh-huh.
and the next one's going to be Ballast Point. And it's not going to end there,
Yeah,
right?
there's gonna be more.
There's going to be more. So there's nothing stopping Sierra Nevada. There's nothing stopping New Belgium. There's nothing stopping these very large breweries with a lot of money.
Lagunitas, Heineken,
Lagunitas has a bar. Heineken owns a bar in Chicago,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They do. They own Lagunitas, and Lagunitas has a bar. And I think it's sort of gone unnoticed, and it obviously wasn't the intention of the law by any means, right? I don't think anyone said, Anheuser-Busch was going to own a couple of, so Tide Houses suddenly
I
exist.
think it's not.
Tide
it
Houses
wasn't
exist
not,
in Chicago.
I don't think it was not the intention of the law. I think it was irrelevant and something that I mentioned and to Danielle when she was on, and she was. It's not a secret. She was very upfront and straightforward about it. It is her job as a lobbyist to push for more, and when you get what you want, you find something else, and you continue to push.
Yes.
And Steve Massney was on and said exactly, and it's other people's jobs who, when it's gone too far, to push back.
Right.
And it's getting to the point where I personally feel like, and I'm in a different position. I can't look at it objectively, I would say, because I've got a lot of skin in the game here. So.
Obviously,
But
me
at
too.
this point,
And
it's the first time
yeah.
I've ever been like, whoa, this is this is getting weird, and I think it's because and it's the craft guys, I think, pushing it. It's not. I don't want to act
Correct.
like
I think the big guys
AB
are just
and
taking.
Heineken.
No,
Yeah.
they're just taking advantage of it.
But that's an important distinction to make.
They would never be able to push
It's not an
because
right.
if AB comes in and says, "Hey, you need to change this law for us," everyone sees right through it.
Right.
But when Half Acre says,
It's like
"Look,
Half Acre
we
and
can't.
Rev and-
It's ridiculous. We have this brew pub and we can't sell Daisy Cutter there, our number one brand, because it's made at our other brewery. Why don't you change the law so that we can now sell, beer from all of our breweries at our pub?" And that, and it makes sense.
Sure.
Let me just,
Yeah.
I think when
What's up, Jerry?
Yeah.
just a perspective, like if you go to, I'll just take St. Louis as an example. If you bring beer down to St. Louis, you can pour your beer at Side Project. You can pour your beer at Perennial if they want to bring it in. And second shift, it's part of their laws. It's already in there.
Yeah.
And I think that's where there might be some of that as part of the driving force of maybe why Half Acre wants to have that part of this law of taproom. And I think that is
Absolutely. I'm not.
St. Louis might be an
Questioning-
exceptionally bad example because it is the home of Anheuser-Busch, I think, and it's very brewer friendly. I think that might be a very
Well,
bad example to use.
It hasn't
them.
always been very brewer friendly.
I'm just saying that because I know that for a fact that you can have beer at a tap room
Sure.
as an out-of-state brewery
right,
or whatever.
right.
And it makes sense for that. Like Half Acre wants to put their friends on tap. Jerry wants to put his friends on tap. It makes sense. Right?
It makes sense.
Yes.
But, I mean, think of so
But
once
other
a rule,
people are going to exploit that.
Once
rule.
a law is written, it can be used to its fullest, not the pure virtuous way that somebody might have gone before the hearing committee and talked about it. Like, listen, people want to come and they want to bring people, and there's no, there's someone who's gluten intolerant. We don't have a gluten-free option. We want to give them something too that's also alcoholic. So why can't we do a cider? It's like it's well-meaning, but that doesn't mean that somebody can now look at the totality of these laws and say, do you guys know that we can just put in like a pot on a stove and basically do whatever we want, or don't. I mean,
you know.
whatever. I don't even know if that would make sense, but I'm saying there's going to be people who are going to look at it and use it absolutely legally as they should and could, and so it just takes some time for us to think. Now, I was talking to somebody who runs a festival for a brewery, because all the best beer festivals are now brewery beer fests, right? Because they have the relationships, and I'm okay with that. I'm 100% fine with that. So I was saying, so under this law, this person was saying, well, it'd be nice for us to be able to pour a beer we collaborated on, And I said, totally. And I said, so if you were doing a beer, if you were inviting, let's say, just pick a really hot brewery nationally, not in this market, the hottest. Treehouse. You invite Treehouse, and they agree to come. Treehouse also has a tap room. Let's say you say, you know what, kick 10 kegs of Treehouse, Julius, we'll kick 10 kegs of one of our beers, our biggest beer, to you. And in addition to the event. So now the only place you can get Treehouse is at this brewery. And then you could have a guest tap or two every quarter or every couple months that nobody can get anywhere else. And it's an insane advantage.
Yeah, but who cares?
Right?
I don't know. I don't
Nobody
care
cares.
about that.
Why not?
I don't think that's a big deal.
Why not?
No. Well,
I'm not saying it is or isn't. I'm just asking, tell me why someone shouldn't be worried about that.
Well, I mean, if your business is dependent
Just
on you
selling
getting
beer.
just one stupid beer, then
I don't know.
Then you have problems. But no, that is not the core issue, in my opinion. The core issue here is by allowing good-intentioned small breweries to do what we all think they should be able to do, and it makes sense to do. That is being exploited by Ed Borg, right? So. It is.
Not yet.
Yes, yet.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, Anheuser-Busch owns 2 bars in Chicago. Heineken
So what?
owns a bar in Chicago. Well, I thought,
they make over 120,000 barrels a year. So
let's
the
get
law
rid of,
the law in Illinois says
the next one's going to be the Miller Coors bar, and the next one after that is going to be, the PBR bar, whatever it is.
So wait, why is a PBR bar worse than a half-acre bar?
Well, for a couple of reasons. One, they don't need that to survive, right? Like Half Acre, I think,
Does not need it to survive.
well, maybe not. Maybe they're a bad example.
They don't need a second tap room.
I
to
think
survive.
Jerry does. I think Mars
No, they
does.
might
I
need-
think Ed
no.
and Jerry both need these.
So, and I
tap
don't
rooms
want to pick
survive.
on Half Acre or let's say Rev, right? Rev. So Rev opened a production facility, right?
Yeah.
They had a brew pub.
Yeah.
That law was changed so the brew pub can serve the production facility beer.
That's
right.
true. Yes.
So they don't need to open their own tap room, but
Right.
it's and they're a top 40 now brewery in the country.
Yeah.
They don't want to shut down that tap room. Makes them a lot of
Oh
money.
my God.
Makes a lot of money.
A lot of
I know
money.
a buyout
Yeah.
for that place costs a lot, and they
Yeah.
make that place is packed, and the profit margin's great. They don't want to do that. They don't need it, but they don't have to
Right.
have it.
I
They'd
mean,
be just fine.
If you're asking what's wrong with any of that, I agree with you. I don't know what is wrong with it. I'm just pointing it out. This is what's
they
going to
probably
happen,
make more
right?
money
And
there
if
than
you're,
the Fulton Goose does.
well, yeah, for sure. Probably.
Okay, so
right?
so what's it about? Is it about that
It's just
I'm owned by a
changing
multinational
landscape.
and you're not?
It's a changing landscape, and you have to realize who your competitors are. And you are a single owner operator bar, Chris, right? You are.
Yeah. You're talking about me personally.
Yes, I'm talking about you personally.
Yeah.
And you just need to have your eyes open as far as who, what the landscape is now, and who you're competing against, and what you're offering that other people.
I would say
aren't
the same
offering.
thing to you, Pat. I would say that you have to do the
I
same
know.
thing, and
Yeah,
that
I'm in
and
the
that
same boat. Yeah.
Fulton is not the concern, and none of this is a concern. It's such a weird, squishy thing because these guys are people that I want to succeed,
Yeah.
and I look at it as like, well, is it good for the consumer? Yeah, the consumer wants this stuff. Maybe I'm just in a bad spot and I'm just getting squeezed out.
Maybe we should, that could be right.
Right.
But all I'm saying is you need to know what the playing field is. We used to live in a 3-tiered system, and my businesses and your business are.
That's such a weird thing to say.
Right. So many holes have been shot in this 3-tier system that I think maybe it's time to just abolish it. And then we know, and then it's like, okay, well, this is what we're doing now, and this is what we can do, and we're all on the same playing field. But right now, we're not on the same playing field. People who aren't dabbling in multiple tiers are losing out. And some people are dabbling in all 3 tiers, and it's 100% legal. Some people have a tap room, some people have a brewery, and are self-distributing. They're doing it all themselves, and that's cool. That's fine. That's not
Edmar, I'm looking at you.
You're right. Yeah, and that's what the law is allowing him to do, and that's what he should do. He's cutting out
A lot of holes.
So maybe we just get rid of it, and so we all know what we're doing. But my business has value based on this 3-tiered system. Your business has value based on it. If that isn't the playing field anymore, let's all talk about it and just know what we're doing.
Mm-hmm. What's up,
Jerry?
Well, I was going to say, this all comes down to the old traditional bars, the really good beer bars in Chicago. There might be, some of them are not doing probably as good as they used to with all these tap rooms.
I think that's what's brought all this up. Yes.
That's the main
If
thing,
everybody
right?
was making money, let's not beat around the bush. If everybody was not making money is the wrong term. If everybody was
up.
seeing, was up.
Okay.
You wouldn't hear anything.
No.
But there's other pressures.
But also,
beyond-
guys.
Let Jerry finish, and then you can talk, Ed. I'm sorry. I interrupted Jerry, and I don't want to double interrupt.
But people always talk about, and this keeps getting brought up about tap rooms opening up. Yes, that's definitely true. But there's also other bars that keep on getting propped up, and it's always going to be Chris Quinn didn't have a tap room, a bar tap room, 6 months ago. I don't know.
Yeah, 6 months. Yeah.
And I think also the fact that people are starting to buy bombers and take them home and drink in at their house with their buddies also plays into the fact that that's another reason why people don't go to bars. I mean, I think there's a lot of different aspects. Another thing that I personally see and I know for a fact is when I have a lot of beer festivals during the summer, we see our numbers go down in our tap room, like dramatically. So that is definitely a correlation between the amount of beer festivals. So that
Well, don't get me started on beer fest. No.
Yeah.
Street fairs are.
So
mine.
there's a lot of different pressures,
Street fairs.
and it's not just tap rooms opening, breweries opening tap rooms.
No, absolutely.
And the landscape has totally changed. When I first opened the shop, people would ask, what bars should I go to? And I would say places like Patty Long's and the Green Lady and Map Room and Local Option. I don't know the last time I've been asked that. It's all what breweries, and they're at a bar. I mean, and they're saying, which tap rooms, which breweries should I visit? It just is what it is. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm not saying anyone's intentions are sinister. I think tap rooms are good.
They're awesome.
They're good.
I go to them all the time.
They're healthy for craft beer. When I was just in Asheville, I wanted to go to a whole bunch of breweries and see where this stuff that I love to drink is made and get a connection to that. I wanted to talk to you, let you talk, Ed. You still?
Well, it's almost like you guys are saying that no one's going out drinking anymore. Okay, in the 80s there were
I don't agree.
There were
with that.
6,000 or 7,000 liquor licenses in the city of Chicago in the 80s or 90s. Okay, guys, and they lost about half of them with Daley's kind of anti-alcohol kind of campaign, the second Mayor Daley's.
Yeah.
And over the time, they've slowly creeped up where there might be around 3,000 now. And there are going to be more liquor licenses and more restaurants with liquor license. And this is a food town. There's a renaissance with cuisine and food and beer. There's only more options. With the growth of craft beer in general, there are more options, right? So, and the amount of beer being made by these small craft breweries is so insignificant that it really shouldn't affect any of the growth or any of the bottom lines of any of these restaurants and bars that are
I think
opening up.
premise is having a significant
I
impact across
disagree.
the board.
I disagree.
And I disagree with your disagreement.
The only reason why I say that is because
And I'm not saying at the bar level. I'm saying at all levels. Distributors, I think, are upset about
I'm
it.
glad you bring up distributors because you know who's going to support this new ruling?
Distributors.
Exactly.
I
yeah.
can't believe they let it.
I know.
Let it happen.
They want it to happen
They
because
want
they
it to
want
happen.
their liquid back on the taps. They want to sell that liquid
No,
in those other
Oh,
outlets.
the new one. Yeah. I can't believe they let the original thing go through. I can't believe they let tap rooms happen.
If they didn't,
I don't.
you
They
know
didn't
what?
realize
They didn't let it.
how much.
If they didn't let it happen, there wouldn't have been 60 to 70 new breweries in Chicago.
Absolutely.
Chicagoland. There would not have been.
No, I've said it before. The self-distribution law
Yeah.
was the biggest.
So you want
They
to
fought it.
you want
They
to
didn't let it.
grow
They
the
want to
crap.
buy into the tied house is what they want, essentially.
Well, I'm not sure it's a tied house. It just allows you to distribute your liquid on premise at your own place where you make it, which makes sense to a brewery.
No. It allows you to buy from a
Oh,
distributor.
you mean the new law? Yeah, the
Yes,
new law
yes,
allows
yes.
me to buy from a different distributor, like it's a bar.
Right, from Jerry.
Yeah, Jerry, from anybody, from anyone who sells their own liquid through a distributor or self-distributorship.
Yes.
And what that allows you to do is to bring more options if you want in your own brewery. Now,
And if you
Mars
think that
but isn't the point of your own tap room is to sell your own beer? Wouldn't you feel a little weird selling someone else's beer on your draft lines? At
Sure.
your own
Now we're
brewery?
talking about, again, this is where you're talking
Not
about.
if you're Constellation Brands or Anheuser-Busch or Miller or I don't know. Not if.
What if you're a struggling? What if you're anything? I mean, I think there's a lot of instances where it could just be what the culture becomes, and I disagree, Pat, that it's not just that someone's going to get Treehouse and I can't get Treehouse. It's that there could be something where.
Well, I didn't know what you were
Okay,
talking
but hang
about.
on. And regarding that already happens anyways, Chris. Some bars get beer no one else gets. Some weird broker
And
distributor.
I'm one
some
of them.
weird
I'm one of them.
Some weird
Pat's another one of them.
Weird brokers and distributors only sell to certain accounts. So it's like, what are you talking about? That already happens. Those relationships that you've built over time are the ones that get you the beer anyways, get you the allocations. So nothing's changed. There's no different way of doing business here. It's the same stuff. It's the same method of doing business. If the brew pub gets the 10 kegs of Treehouse ham sandwich beer, big deal. You're going to get the 5 kegs of whatever, of blueberry love juice. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
whatever. So it's like that's just happening every day, 1,000 times a day, everywhere in Illinois. Nothing will change.
Let me make something very clear. First of all, I am not down, right? So
With what?
I,
You mean with the law?
With my business. My business is not down. So, Patty Long's, maybe a little bit. Kaiser Tiger, it's through the roof. So I'm not complaining. And I work very, very well with the tap rooms by me. I love the tap rooms by me. I go there all the time.
You have
I
a
buy
ton
their
of
beer.
tap rooms by you.
Yes, and people go there and then they come to me and vice versa. And and I'm
I think that
not a
puts you in
big
a great
competition
position.
guy.
Advocating for a healthy bar culture.
I
that's
think you put
outside
us in
of
a
tap
good
rooms. That's
position
what
to
you're
talk
saying,
about
right?
it.
Yes, and I love it.
And I'd say so too. And I don't want to, hurt, bar culture,
Anyone's business.
Right, and I don't think you are,
especially the ones that are, the ones that are, the old, the really good ones that have been here for a long time.
Right. I mean, I just want to point out that the lessening of these laws, the lacks of things going on in this law, is being taken advantage of.
Yeah, by the Borg.
Yes,
or will be.
And that makes
advantage of.
it.
You know what? And
It
Pat, I have
is.
to say that I'm against this law. As a brewery owner that would benefit from this law, I am against it for that specific reason.
All right.
Where do
I
you
like
see
that,
this
Ed.
going, Ed, that you're afraid of?
He's absolutely right. When the Ballast Point bar, whatever bar opens up, it's all the fake craft beer brands are going to be pouring in.
I don't think it will be. That's not
some
what
of
they're
them.
trying to do.
But you know what I mean. Like, you'll be able.
By the way, I'll be at that Ballast Point bar, and I'm going to enjoy it, and I love their beer, and I still pour it.
Me too.
I'm just saying they are an example of an outside brewery with a lot of money, huge money behind them. They're owned by Constellation Brands, who are coming in Chicago and opening a bar.
Who
and
is that
They
bad
won't be the
for?
last, right?
No.
They're not going to be the last.
But
one.
Who is that? Like, let's take. So, is it an individual thing, or is it just a where this could go. It could snowball.
Yeah, it opened my eyes as to what can legally happen.
Right. And if you extrapolate,
And what can legally happen?
If you extrapolate it, what is that worst case scenario?
Yeah. That's what I want to hear.
The 3 or 4 biggest breweries in America opening, dozens of tap rooms.
They're still limited. They're still limited.
Dozens of tap rooms in Chicago.
Yeah.
Dozens, so that they're not limited to how many satellite?
Three.
So that's 3. It's 3.
3 each.
3 each. So Goose gets 3. Lagunitas gets 3.
They're
Ballast
limited
Point
to the whole
gets
state
3.
or what?
Yeah, for the state.
For the state, 3 to the
Yeah,
state.
so there you go. What's the big deal?
Well, you tell
Sounds
me.
to me like, yeah, I mean.
I'm just telling you what can happen and what's going on.
I don't see as.
I'm not.
I think the Tide House. I think it's going to be another. I think to me it is. This law in itself may not. It's not going to be anything catastrophic. The laws are starting to get pushed further and further because here's what I think: 3 will become 4. Will become 5, and it'll be the little guy who was a
Right.
third
They
and wants
keep
to open
pushing it.
one.
Yeah.
Guys, I love you, Half Acre. I like you individually, and I like your beer, but I know you guys just moved downstate. Let's say you guys open a third one out here, and now you're at the limit. So you've got 2, you want a third, and let's say just, I'm using guys hypothetically, you want to go downstate and open a tap room down there to kind of garner some support downstate. So you want to push that law. You don't want to push it from 3 to 4. You want to push it from 3 to 10, right? Or 3 to just abolish how many you can do, right? What the lobbyists are going to try to do, and good on them, is just abolish the limit. So that's what they'll go for, and maybe you'll compromise on 10 or 4 or whatever. So you'll abolish it, and then Tide House is done. Then they can come in, but it's. Talk about, man, this is a term we haven't brought up in a while. Talk about a Trojan horse. What if a Trojan horse came in your friend's best intentions, right? Where it's being pushed and these laws are being pushed until.
I think that's what's happening right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. But I don't think this law is it. I think it's a trend we're seeing that's opening stuff up.
It's interesting
and
to me,
punching holes
like,
in the 3-tier, like you're saying, Pat.
I get that they want to pour collaboration beers and their friends' beers for events. But, that's not what's going to,
That's
they're
not
going
what the
to
law
have,
is.
That's
And
not,
it's
yeah,
also
that's
a
not
nice
what the
to
law,
have.
That's
But
not
what
what
if-
the law
nice to have.
says,
What if they
right?
changed the law and said, if you, they do for lots of nonprofit orgs, for example, 3 times a year they get to apply to use a temporary liquor license to bring in beer to do a fundraiser or whatever, a street fair thing. Why not let a brewery get a license that allows them to bring in a collaboration beer or beer from someone else 3 times a year? Why not just change the law so it really
It's
does
almost
what the
impossible
intent
to-
is?
Why not
That's
put
not
a
impossible.
barrelage? Why not put a
So it's a
barrelage
regulator
Barrelage
follow-
limit.
limit on
Yeah,
tap
on
rooms?
what you could bring in.
Because right now there's none. The largest brewer in the entire world
Well,
owns tap rooms here.
Why not? Because the guild is going to push what's good for them.
Right.
Do they want
I-
to limit themselves?
I think-
How many times have they tried to already push the upper limits of things?
No,
Couple
I'm just
times already.
I'm just throwing out some ideas that could
Sure,
appease.
All right,
but is that
uh,
in their best
and
interest?
guys,
Of course not.
and
of
also,
course not.
all right, you're a production brewery. You really want to bring in someone else's beer, and you need to expand or whatever the reason is. Go open up your small brew pub with a 2-barrel system and just
Right,
sell the
yeah.
beer there.
Right, there's
There's
a brew
already
pub license.
There
right?
already
There's a
are
brew pub
loopholes
license.
to bring other people's beer
Sure.
to your place. If it really matters that much to you, then invest $500,000 to
Yeah.
$1 million to bring your buddy's beer in.
There's a reason
Right.
we have this brew pub license,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
there's a reason there's limits on it. I'll tell you another thing that tap rooms are not subject to that gives them a major advantage, and that is zoning. So
Yeah,
zoning
you're
in
right.
Chicago is a huge thing, right?
I never thought about that.
And you can be zoned to not have a bar.
Pat, you're hosting the show for the next 2 minutes.
Okay, you can be zoned in a production manufacturing district, or a PMD as they're known.
Yeah.
And bars are not allowed there. Period. Restaurants are not allowed there. Period. But breweries are, and those breweries can automatically have a tap room. So suddenly, not only are they having a leg up on me trying to open a bar in that area. But they're also going against zoning, and zoning is there for a reason, because if they're in a manufacturing district, there's a lot of manufacturing going on. And a lot of times those areas are not conducive to having a full-blown bar, doing its thing. They just aren't, Those two things don't go together. It's not an entertainment district. There's a reason we zone entertainment districts for entertainment, and a reason we zone other places for other things like manufacturing.
Well, there used to be a bar in every corner around this neighborhood, or most neighborhoods in Chicago, and the bar right by the manufacturing district was a very important amenity for people who worked very long hours, right?
Yeah.
But you're right. They changed the laws. There's entertainment districts. The zoning is completely crazy, and the city wants to support more cultural development, more development of like nightlife, hospitality industry, and they're kind of behind on that. They will designate some streets, some areas for these places where they'll change the zoning, but they're really behind on it.
They are.
If it's truly important to increase hospitality industry and the kind of tourism of the city of Chicago in the neighborhoods, they need to loosen those rules. They need to cut those moratoriums out.
Well, zoning is zoning, and you're right. They do get behind the times on it. At the same time, if I'm not dabbling in multiple tiers, I'm missing out on the opportunities in that zoning.
Yep, that's true. I mean, for the PMD, for example, we are able to open up. In fact, the PMD, you could just open up a liquor store in the PMD, actually.
Yeah.
Just packaged good if you wanted to.
You can?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, just packaged goods without manufacturing. PMD's out.
I'm not sure that's true.
Well, that's what I was told. For our location, that it was licensed, and you could just do a packaged goods store if you wanted to. But you had to use X amount of square feet of that building.
For production? I mean, don't you have to have another...
you could only use a certain amount of square feet in the space to open up your liquor store. So if a Benny's wanted to open up in the central manufacturing district where we were, they could, right next door. But they could only have like 4,000 square feet.
So I have a question real quick. I haven't been here.
Any tap room can only have 4,000 square feet.
That's right.
Yeah.
But were you listening to our conversation while you were out?
I came in, and my immediate thought was, we do have listeners outside of Chicago.
Yeah.
And outside of Illinois.
We are getting very specific.
Yeah.
But,
you're talking about like Iron Street, South Iron, and just Benny's when they be on South Iron.
I think this problem is very...
any plant manufacturing district.
I'm kidding.
This whole conversation is very Chicago specific, though, because, Chicago...
I think it has broader implications.
It does, but Chicago right now is going through it, right? We didn't have very many tap rooms 2 years ago. And, now, I mean, how many tap rooms do you think have opened in the last 2 years in Chicago?
Oh, my gosh.
10?
All the ones I know of.
10?
Yeah.
10 or 12?
Oh, my God.
More.
50?
Well, some are brew pubs and some are tap rooms.
I'm just talking tap rooms. We have 80 breweries in Chicago proper.
Yeah.
180 in Chicago land.
Yeah.
Not
Jerry's counting on
enough.
his finger. I see Jerry's fingers.
Not
going.
enough. Not enough breweries or tap rooms or brew pubs in Chicagoland. You want to be known as a craft beer, a world destination for craft beer? Do you want the city to be known as that in the States?
I guess.
Why not?
Yeah, sure. What
You need more breweries.
No,
there's going to be a limit to how many breweries we can sustain.
I'll tell you one thing. I was at,
that's just math.
I think we
You
are
were at
slowing down on
Asheville.
that
Right.
aspect.
What's that?
I think we are slowing down on that.
I think we are. Yeah. I think.
I don't know how many are in the planning stages right now, because I don't know too many that. Well, I don't pay attention to that, but right now, but
I still have them coming every week that I've never heard of. I had the one just Wednesday. Never heard.
Whoops. Can we shift a little bit? There's been something I've been wanting to talk about for a little bit. It's kind of related.
What's that?
Not really. So,
Did you talk about the Alcoa-Cola beverage market?
I wanted to talk about these electronic draft boards. I wanted to get your opinion of this, because you may very well be, Pat, be someone who's like, Chris, why do you freak out about this stuff? Nobody cares. You shouldn't care. Which you're very good at doing and being right about it. So there was a thing about Nielsen. I think we probably already talked about this too. I don't know. At this point, I don't even know what I've talked about on my own show. I talk about the same stuff all the darn time. It was so essentially these electronic draft. We have talked about it.
Are you talking about like the thing at Links where like
Yeah.
it shows you
So
like
apparently,
it's a board?
that company, and if there's multiple, at least one of those companies tracks all your sales, all your throughput. They know all of it. It's all by weight. You punch in every beer that's on every line,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
and that data, at least in one instance, was sold to Nielsen. So they know all your sale info and can sell it. Maybe anonymously, maybe not anonymously at all. That, to me, is weird, and I would never want to touch one.
They
of
already
those.
do that with the IRI data, don't they?
I mean, if you sign up for it, I think.
Yeah, if you sign up in your liquor store, grocery store, whatever, they have all those sales and those figures, and they sell that information as well.
Well, no, that's
Yeah.
the store.
They're probably just
selling
getting
it,
much
yeah.
more specific data from having like an in-store, monitor. They can say like, this beer averages this many days on tap, or I'm sure they can get very specific data from that. Yeah, I mean, data is gold, right? It's worth money.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth probably more than the beer that's going through it. And then they could also go to the bar and say, you know what does really well at other bars that have XYZ, Z2, and Z4
Absolutely.
beers.
So Miller-
Z7 does
yeah.
really good. You should put Z7 on.
Yes, Miller has a program doing that, I believe.
Oh, my goodness.
And-
Well, that's where I was going to go with it next.
Yeah.
And once they can do it, they can then go to Miller and say, you know what you should be brewing is Z7, and then we'll go in and consult and tell them that that's the type of beer that does well. And I'm always looking for these.
Miller Hazy coming out.
Yes.
I don't know.
I mean,
totally could be done.
Yeah. I mean,
But I guess IRI could be doing it
again,
anyway.
yeah, I am going to say, so what? I mean, none of that affects us. We're not.
You don't think so?
No. Do you think a Miller rep's going to come in and say, hey, Chris, you should put XYZ beer on because it does it well in this? I mean, my eyes are going to glaze over the second he
they're gonna
mentions a number because I don't know anything about numbers. So, yeah, I don't think it affects us per se. But, yeah, data is gold. And if they can collect it any way they can and sell it, they will do that.
But they're going to be doing
your
that.
phone is doing that.
Who
all day
are they
watching.
going to do that to? Who are they going to do and be effective at doing that to?
The bars that don't have a clue.
Or maybe massive
which is the majority.
massive chains.
Yeah,
chains,
chains,
right?
of course.
Right, so I got
chains,
a big chain, and then I've got 50 lines I can put on. So who then are they going to push towards that? Like, it's, again, the beer board gets this me being, a conspiracy theorist. I mean, come on, stop doing your
I don't know,
beer menu, Ed. And
Sorry.
yeah,
Do you really
no.
care about what a chain is pouring on tap?
You're talking about me as
Yeah,
the beer
like-
temple owner? No. But what I'm
right.
saying is to craft breweries. Sometimes I actually try to think of it from what is good for beer, honestly.
Oh,
and
wow, that's weird.
Right. So, I mean, think about that, though, guys. I mean, now you've got it's just another foothold for the Trojan horse of craft to go in there.
I'll just pay my craft beer consultant to get that data for me that he could feed back to the Borg, like is currently being done.
And then the Borg will make a beer to inject right into this thing.
Yeah.
And then they'll know what to pour at their tap room.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then the Borg will know what to brew for Buffalo Wild Wings, who's one of the people who uses this.
B-dubs.
But I love the Wild Wings.
I've never been to one. Honestly, I've never have.
Get the double coconut hot barbecue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good wings.
As well as the other 5,000 flavors. So, the thing is I see what you're saying. It's intrusive. They're selling the data. But if you're going to sign up and use that digital screen thing, you already know that they're going to do that with your bar. You're already aware of that. I think the only...
You know what bothers me more about those things? I think about the piece of equipment that goes in there that measures the beer, and I'm like, that's just another thing I got to clean.
Yeah, you got to clean that. And also...
And how clean does it get?
I think it's scales.
What's
I
it
think
made of?
They sit them on scales, I think, don't they? No?
Oh, I don't know.
No,
Never
they
used.
just
They have
punch in-
monitors, though.
They just punch in. This is a 30 liters. This is a half barrel, and then
So
they
there's
know.
a flow monitor.
I think it goes towards they ring it up 12 ounces, and they should mathematically.
I don't think so.
calculate how
I don't
much-
think it goes through your POS. And the inventory people do the same thing. They want to sell you a device that'll measure the liquid
flow control.
Yeah,
Probably a little
Okay.
spinner thing.
Yeah,
I guess I'm
that
wrong.
just,
Exactly.
like flips as it spins.
exactly.
You do have to clean that, and that's
And how clean does that thing get? That's my only.
Yeah.
That's
your
where my
only
brain
thing.
went. That's my only.
My
problem with
biggest
it.
problem is I can't go to the screen and stretch my hands across it to enlarge the font size.
because you're blind.
Yeah, I
'Cause you're an
can't
old
read
man.
the beers on draft.
Old man Ed.
Oldmar.
Oldmar.
All of this being said,
I
Oldmar.
want to touch the screen like an iPhone thing and enlarge. It
all,
won't let me.
all of this being said, I do like the screen at Lynx. I mean, I kind of thought about
They're
it.
cool.
Yeah. I mean, when I go
They're
there, I
cool.
like it. And
And for those, you guys have probably all seen it. The
Staring
one with
at
the
it.
keg that goes green to yellow to red when it's almost done.
But the
and
thing
tells
that-
you what's on.
The thing
Yeah.
I really loved about it when I first heard about it was that the commodity pricing would happen. That the beer,
Well, some of them do that.
I haven't been to a bar like that, and I want to just give
There's
extra
one in
money.
Kalamazoo.
I want to give extra money.
yeah,
for
you
beer.
can't do that in Chicago. It's illegal.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, that's
But-
the reason why.
But I do think though. So all right. So let's go even further. Then let's just go so far down this stupid rabbit hole. So now, you should know that if you're one of those places that they should be selling that data and that it is going to be used to help them sell and yada yada. So do you, Edmar, who has never seen a sword he didn't want to fall on, do you want to say like, you know what, I'm not selling beer to a place that has that and is going to use that data to hurt craft beer?
What we would do, Chris, is we would make a new SKU just for that machine. It's only
Right.
used at that place.
Okay,
That's the way I would hack the system.
I don't know if
I would
that
hack
hacks it in any way. But
I would make
get
up a
it.
new name, hack the system. Holy cow! Mars is bread, cheese, bologna, ham sandwich, haze milkshake is only available at this place, and then it'll just sell out.
Blueberry
Exclusivity.
dreamsicle ham
Yeah,
sandwich.
blueberry. Yeah, dream pie.
I
ham.
knew
With coffee.
Ed was part of the deep state. I
Yeah.
knew it.
So you just hack that. What would happen with the independent brewers will hack the beer tracking system, man. It's the Internet of Things, dude, and beer is one of those things.
True. Fair enough. So it's time for us to wrap things up. I think we should do. We can't do calls to action, but I will say that this was what we just talked about was discussed at length. How long is your show? How long is a Beer Opinions
It's an
episode?
hour.
An hour.
Yeah. How long is this one? Like 6 hours?
Yeah,
Feels like 6
6 or
hours.
7
You did
hours
6
long.
hours of the same conversation that he just had last week.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
So if
Pretty
people
good.
who were interested in hearing more, and from the words of the owner of the Hop Leaf himself, would be able to do it on your show if they wanted to go and find Beer Opinions. Is there anything you guys wanted to say in closing? Should I just go around?
Yeah,
or-
I do, for
Oh,
sure.
I'm shocked. I figured.
I really do. I want to thank everyone out there who's listening or not listening for coming by our new place. I'm really touched and was kind of freaked out by the amount of people coming in and who were excited as much as we were. And thank you so much for your support and coming by. We really appreciate it.
Cool. Anyone else? Jerry, anything?
I have nothing.
I want to say how much I love tap rooms. I mean, I really do. And, whatever was said on my podcast and this one.
Oh, okay.
Honestly, I think they are the lifeblood of what we're doing here in Chicago with beer, and I love them very much. I simply worry about the spirit of the law being, taken advantage of. Yes, exactly.
Cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have really anything to say in closing, which that might be a first. Yeah, right?
Wow.
All right. I want to say that I'm a little disappointed in Serge. I do
I
want to
think
say
he.
that.
I think
I
he
thought you didn't have
improved.
anything to say.
I thought he improved.
You're not going to
I
say
can always
go
find
nowhere.
out.
Or
I
something
thought he
like
came
that?
through the finish line with guns blazing. I thought he did great.
Some would say.
Shaky start.
You don't, but I see things on a different level. I can really tune into it, and I saw some areas of improvement. We usually have a post-mortem after every episode where we go through the good and the bad. So I'm just saying to Serge, plan on.
But you're not a jerk.
I'd call into work now because you're not getting any sleep tonight because we got to go through all this stuff. But anyway, that's why we have the number one Association of Beer Writers Guild show because of this sort of stuff that I do.
This kind of DIY craft independent production.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I think it's very artisanally done, Serge.
Yeah.
There's like some flaws or some human kind of like elements to what you're doing. Like
Some off flavors.
Your hand has touched the board, of the
Right.
the literal soundboard, which gives this its own unique flavor. Without that, you would be just another cookie cutter McDonald's, Clear Channel,
You know what?
iHeartMedia.
I'll say it
beer
right
show.
now. I couldn't agree more. If I wanted my producer to not be doing homework, I'd just go on NPR and do
Yeah,
my show there. But
exactly.
I choose to do it on
Yeah.
Lumpen Radio.
Well,
You love multitasking
what makes you think the NPR
producers.
guy isn't working on his masters? I think he probably is.
Yeah.
Well,
You don't know, Chris. You haven't been to the NPR farm.
actually, I have. Andrew Gill had me on one time. And
You notice how many screens they had open on
oh
their
my
desks?
gosh, it was
Yeah.
it was like that Tom Cruise thing you were talking about.
About
Oldmar,
hacking?
Oldmar would have loved
About
it.
hacking?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, they hack over
they
there.
were hacking.
That's
Shit.
the huge circular room with like the millions of monitors up in the air.
Yeah,
Just monitoring everything on Earth.
yeah,
Hacking.
hacking.
Yeah, with
The liberal agenda up
yeah,
there. What
yeah.
to kind of
Well,
pump
on
into
real
people.
media players.
I think we should get the hell off the air right now.
Yeah.
I wanted to thank all my guests: Jerry Nelson, Ed Marr. I want to thank producer Serge. It's great to have him next to me, and I want to thank Pat Berger as well. Thank you guys for listening. Hey, if you like, we haven't had a review in a while on iTunes. Throw a review.
No one cares anymore.
I know. I think
Their
you're
beer's
right.
over.
Beer's over, man. Well, if anyone still cares, I guess we'll be on next week. So until then, so long.
Remember this is what we wanted. Remember this is what we said. To never be heard or seen from again, 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 again. Remember this is what we wanted. Remember this is what we said. To never be heard or seen from again, 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 again. Remember this is what we wanted. Remember this is what we said. To never be heard or seen from again, 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 again.